A new pope has been selected, and it has been announced that it'll be Cardinal Prevost, which makes him the first American pope. Now, he has taken the name of Leo XIV, which is significant because Leo XIII was known for serving the poor, taking care of those in need, and living a very Christ-like, if you believe those stories, life. Now, historically, cardinals had not selected an American to become pope in the last 80 years or so due to the appearance of America's power on the world stage and the power that that would potentially give the pope. But in this case, Cardinal Prevost was born and raised in Chicago and then spent the majority of his time serving in Peru and South America before moving to Vatican City to oversee the office that appoints bishops. Now, Pope Leo XIV has succeeded Pope Francis, who passed just a couple weeks ago, and it's going to be very interesting to see whether he continues on in Francis' legacy or if he will strike out on a new path. We'll have to wait and see.
Robert Prevost is the new pope. He's actually the first pope from the United States of America, and he is from Chicago. He's chosen to take the name Pope Leo, and he actually was a strong confidant of the late, great Pope Francis. If you want to know a little bit about his politics, he is overall seen as a centrist. However, on some key social issues, he is progressive. He also has long embraced marginalized communities, similar to the way Pope Francis did, which is probably the reason why they were so close to one another. Right now, he is doing his initial address to the people. He is now the leader of 1.4 million Catholics worldwide. I know some people were hoping for other popes. I don't know much about him other than the little bit that I read before I filmed this video. I guess it's cool that he's the first pope from the United States of America. And I trust my girl Pope Francis. So if he was giving Robert the stamp of approval, then I guess we have to stand him for now. I will say this whole process has been extremely interesting to watch unfold on social media, and it really has become a mainstream news event. Like, who would have thought that the movie Conclave would come out and then less than a year later we'd have to live through an actual conclave and we kind of would know what was going on because of the movie.
The new pope is an American. The very first American pope. Crazy, history making, groundbreaking. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of shocked. Like, I did not really think that was in the cards for us. I feel like that really just put a twist into the plot. I have so many questions and I'm so excited to hear about everything that comes out of the decision behind deciding an American pope. I just feel like it's gonna be so strange, like hearing his addresses and stuff and him having probably an American accent. And you already know there's gonna be like a million gazillion conspiracy theories about him getting elected with like everything going on. Like, wouldn't you wanna be a fly on the wall in the Oval Office? Like, are they celebrating? Are they freaking out? We don't know. The way I was just like texting my family group chat, like, USA, USA. And before you guys come for me, you know I travel full time, but like, you gotta have a little bit of patriotism for where you're from, especially being from somewhere that people love to hate. Like, it feels like a slight win for the year we've already been having. I'm honestly just so curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I have not researched this guy really enough to like give much of an opinion other than just being like, whoa, that's cool, that's history, whatever, he's from Chicago. I'm also really excited for the memes. I'm not gonna lie, I know the memes are gonna pop off. The new pope is...
They just announced the new pope and everyone was going wild building up to it, okay? Leading up to it, the crowd was like, ah! There's like millions of people there. Like, we are going to announce the new pope. They all sound like Dracula or whatever. And people are in the crowd holding Brazilian flags, Puerto Rican flags. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be someone from maybe South America or somewhere, a cool country. They go, the new pope is an American. He is from Chicago. And everyone's like, woo! An American? Huh? What? Like, They could have picked so many interesting people, and they picked some dude from Chicago. I'm not gonna lie, that has to be the most boring pick of the century. Y'all picked an American. I don't think people realize that in America, we don't really care as much about the Pope as other countries. They should have given it to another country that cares more about it.
We officially have a new pope. As of around 10 minutes ago, it has been confirmed that Robert Prevost, a Peruvian American from Chicago, has been confirmed as Pope Leo XIV. This is a significant upset because a lot of people were not expecting an American pope, especially not in the current political climate. However, Pope Leo XIV's views are seen as center progressive, which puts him very much in line with Pope Francis, signaling that the church wants to continue the narratives that Pope Francis was pushing during his papacy. It could also be seen as an attempt to try and normalize American politics more by selecting a pope from America, but one who is more open to discussion and debate than someone who is polarized to one end or the other. I don't understand, baby, but I'm pretty sure he's saying so long as it's not Pope Benedict again, I'm fine with it. According to the Associated Press, it's also believed that Pope Leo XIV has been selected because he doesn't meet the stereotype of Americans as brash, headstrong, and seems to present a more rational and diplomatic approach to church politics. I will be interested to see where he takes the church. What do y'all think of the new pope? Let me know in the comment.
We have a new pope, and he's American. White smoke just came from the chimney in the Vatican, signaling that the cardinals had chosen their new pope, and it's Robert Prevost, who was born in Chicago and is now the first American pope. None of the 266 ones before him were American, and in fact, there was always kind of a bias against having a pope from the United States because of the geopolitical power that the U.S. already wields globally. And yet, in many ways, he was the perfect choice for a first American pope. He spent about a third of his life in the U.S. He got a bachelor's in math from Villanova, and then a Master of Divinity degree in Chicago. But then the rest of his training was in Rome. He spent a lot of time in Peru, so he's been in Latin America and Europe for most of his life. He's a polyglot. He speaks French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, English, all fluently. He reads Latin and German. And with his international experience, with his theological expertise, and now his position as well, he has a high position choosing bishops in the church. In many ways, he was probably the perfect choice. So Robert Prevost, who's going to go by Leo XIV, is the new pope.
The Pope is an American. That's bonkers to me. What? I find this odd. And honestly, a little bit ominous. Something about an American pope just doesn't sit right with me. I'm American, just so we're clear. What? He's from Chicago. Robert Prevost? I don't know how to pronounce that. That's crazy. Are you guys seeing this? This is very much so like a historical moment. I'm interested to see how the world reacts to this, because America, just from where I'm sitting, is not in the best of opinions of the world right now. This is crazy. This is insane. I was raised Catholic. I'm not Catholic anymore, but my parents are Catholic, whatever. And so like my family group chat is just blowing up. But this is wild. Just the other day, I was talking with my mom about how I'm like, I feel like, I hit my glass. I was like, I feel like they would avoid bringing in a pope from a specific country that's like a superpower country, like America or Russia or China, just for like the politics of it all. Because there are like, 1.8 billion Catholics on the planet. But this is very interesting. I didn't think this would happen. I know nothing about him, except for that he worked with Pope Francis, and I liked Pope Francis because he's very much so a pope of love and acceptance and openness and change within the Catholic Church. So hopefully he continues in that direction.
So we have some breaking news. There is a new pope, and it seems to be a big surprise because they've selected Cardinal Robert Prevost, who is the first American pope. He's going to be Pope Leo XIV, and he does seem to be a more progressive choice along the lines of Pope Francis, so hopefully that is promising. He is a dual citizen, so he's both American and Peruvian, and he spent some of his adult life in Peru. He does seem to be a more forward-thinking choice. So, for example, he supports divorce within the church. He is empathetic to migrants and believes that they should have more support. So hopefully he's going to continue to advocate for immigrants, for the people of Gaza, things like that. There are more question marks around his support of the LGBTQ community. He doesn't necessarily seem opposed, but he doesn't seem as heavily supportive as Pope Francis was. But some of the biggest concerns around him seem to be that he did not take strong enough action against priests where there were credible concerns around SA of minors. And there have even been some accusations that he might have covered things up. Obviously, this is an ongoing issue within the Catholic Church, and it's hard to say like what could be attributed to him, but this seems to be like the biggest controversy around him that I could find right now. So curious to hear what people think about this, but if nothing else, this seems to be a groundbreaking choice.